First of all, this was a poll that was conducted by the Smith Institute, Rafi Smith, one of the most respected pollsters in Israel. The survey sample size was 700 Jewish adult Israelis. The poll was taken on June 27th and 28th of 2017, so these results are relatively fresh, about 2 weeks old. Now, the first question that we had asked was if you believe, or if you do not believe, that the Palestinian leadership will ever recognize Israel as the Jewish state, as the nation state of the Jewish people. 18% believe that the Palestinians might recognize it, 82% do not. Next, one of the questions that we had asked was, of the following things, if any, do you think can convince the Palestinians to recognize Israel as the state of the Jewish people? The first was a military victory, 14% thought that was possible. Diplomatic means, 20%. 14. Political pressure or economic sanctions, 14%. The recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel, 7%. Something else, 4%. Nothing, 41%. Okay, if you agree, if you disagree to the following statement. All of the military efforts or all of the diplomatic efforts that we may be able to do in relation to the Palestinian leadership that we've done so far with the Palestinian leadership have not brought the Israeli victory or to convince the Palestinians that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict ends. 65% agree, 35% disagree. If you agree or if you disagree that if we'll be able to come to a peace agreement with the Palestinians only after the Palestinian leadership recognizes the fact that they have lost this agreement against Israel. 58% agree that the Palestinians first have to recognize their defeat before there can actually be a successful solution to this conflict. If you agree or disagree to the idea that an Israeli victory will only be achieved when the Palestinians recognize Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. 67% of Israeli adults agree with that statement. So you see, as a common attribute through all of these questions that were asked in this poll, that the majority of Israeli society, almost a supermajority of Israeli society, agree with the fact that there has to be another paradigm shift. זה חייב להיות שינוי במחשבה האסטרטגית של ממשלת ישראל וגם של הכנסת וגם האנשים הביטחוניים, איך להוביל את ההכרעה של הפלסטינים מבינים שמדינה יהודית לא הולך על עולמו וישאר בו עד הנצח. או לפחות 100 שנים הבאים, סתם. אוקיי, next. זהו? אוקיי, אז מעבר לזה, there were some more interesting statistics that were read that I really think have to be understood according to this poll. Bivrit, Anglit? Okay, English. All right. This one was, I think, the most important one that came out in terms of the short-term tactical and strategic goals associated with the conflict. 84% of respondents agreed that in the next conflict with Hamas or Hezbollah, Israel should ten sahal l'natseach, to let the IDF win, defined as continuing military operations until such a point when Israel's enemies recognized their defeat. And 82% of the Jewish population in Israel, or rather 58%, agree with the statement that a peace agreement with the Palestinians will only be possible once the Palestinian leadership recognizes that it has been defeated in its struggle against Israel. Another way to translate one of the results that we already went over. So the bottom line here is that the results of this survey do not just justify the theory and the intellectual argument for changing the way in which Israel deals with the Palestinians, but it also gives American policy organizations like the Middle East Forum and her partners in Washington, D.C. and the rest of the United States to be able to make a cogent argument that not just Israeli leaders in the parliament and the Knesset and Israeli security leaders agree with this assessment, but also a significant majority of the Israeli people agree with this idea. Years after years of peace processing have led to a war process, a talich milchama bimkom talich shalom. And because of this, we can now go back to Washington, D.C. and do our part to put pressure on the American leadership to allow Israel to have more breathing room and to have those difficult discussions to discuss איך אתם תוכלו להכריע להנהגה הפלסטינית להזדהות שהמדינה היהודית פה תישאר על הנצח. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.